Excited about discovering that new project car? We love that feeling too. Excitement can quickly turn into despair if your next vehicle turns out to be a money pit. Well, a bigger money pit than you already planned for. That's why we're covering the top things you should look for when evaluating an older car for your next project. Using our 1974 Nova project car as an example. The goal here is to save you time, money, and frustration. And in return, we only ask you for two things. Like and comment on this video if it helped you out in some way, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can keep making cool content like this. So let's jump right in. The natural tendency is to focus on the engine, paint, or how cool a car looks when deciding to buy a new project vehicle. But the real problems are usually hidden. Number 10 on our list is the most overlooked factor when evaluating a potential project car, and that is parts availability. Sure, having a super rare car is cool, but when it comes to finding parts for one, it can be a real nightmare and really derail or slow down a project. You have to ask yourself a couple questions before you purchase a super rare car. Like, is there aftermarket support? What's the restoration parts availability like? You know, having an online forum or group that is dedicated to your platform or car can really change the game as well, especially when trying to locate hard to find or non-made parts anymore. You'll find a bent frame or heavy body damage creates a bunch of headache, and that's why that makes number 9 on our list. Now, a good thing to evaluate on a car is to look for heavy frame damage or body damage. In the case of our Nova, this is a subframe car. We're gonna wanna look at the front subframe and then the rear frame rails that are incorporated into the body and everything like that. Now, if you have heavy body damage or a bent frame, you'll get uneven tire wear, the doors and everything will shut weird, bad panel alignment, and it can be very hard, expensive, or impossible to fix. So it's one of the things you're gonna wanna look for hard in a car to make sure everything is kosher. Now, our car here has some alignment issues, obviously, so there's some front end parts wore out, but generally just looking around the car, this thing has no major body damage, and the front subframe looks like it's in really good shape. The rear differential is often forgot about, and that's why it makes number 8 on our list. Now, if you plan on reusing the stock rear end, it's a good idea to inspect it, make sure it doesn't have a bunch of crazy leaks or excessive play in like the pinion bearing, or make any weird or odd clunking noises when rotating it over. Our car still has the factory 8.5 in it. The GM guys, you know, you're often looking for 12 bolts and stuff like that, and some of that stuff can get really expensive. So if you're buying a car with the assumption it has a 12 bolt in it, it's a good idea to check it out because you want to make sure it's in good condition and that it's usable because they're hard to find and expensive to replace. What about fuel system health? That's number 7 on our list. Now, with an old project car that's sat for a while, the fuel was probably turned to varnish, and that is not great for fuel system health. When buying an older project car, you're gonna wanna inspect all the hard lines and soft lines, check the inside of the tank for rust, see if it's got any wet spots on the bottom or if it's extremely rusty. And it's just a good idea in general when getting a new car to refresh the fuel system. So new rubber lines, clean out the old hard lines if not replacing them, maybe a fresh fuel pump, fuel filter. You're gonna wanna replace the rubber lines with something that's ethanol safe because most fuels nowadays are blended unless you plan on putting just straight gas in the car. A lot of things also with modern fuel that has ethanol in it, you're gonna wanna replace all the old rubber lines anyway because the ethanol will degrade them and old fuel lines are not ethanol safe. So that's something to keep in mind that with a project car, you're just gonna probably wanna do a full fuel system refresh. Number 6 on our list is brake system condition. Now, if you have to rebuild an entire brake system and replace a lot of stuff, it can get costly, but it's not a bad idea. You know, the brakes are what stop the car, so making sure they're in good condition before you drive it on the road is a good idea. So this is a non-power brake 4-wheel drum car. So some of the things you want to look at are the rubber lines, the wheel cylinders inside the drum brake assemblies. Looking at this car, it does have 3 brand new rubber lines on it, so 2 up front and the 1 for the rear axle. The brake line's look in decent condition. I would at least like to flush the brake fluid out of the system and put fresh fluid in it before I drive it. The downside about some of these older braking systems is they can be expensive to rehab and some of the parts can be really, really hard to find or locate. So it might be a good idea just to do an update to say a disc conversion on the front or on all 4 corners depending on what you're doing and what your budget is. Number 5 on our list is suspension components and suspension mounting points. This is a subframe car, so essentially it has a front frame half that is rubber mounted to the body shell, and then Your engine's supported by that, all your upper and lower control arms, most of the weight of the car. And then in the back, it has leaf spring mounts that bolt to the body. So you're gonna wanna pay attention to areas like that to make sure it's not rotted, cracked, because that can be very expensive to replace, or if it's bad enough, you might be looking for a new shell. So like on this car, for example, just looking underneath it, it definitely needs some subframe bushings. Like this one on this side is actually really bad. But just looking at your control arm bushings and all stuff like that, this looks like all original stuff. I'm gonna go with it's old rubber and probably needs replaced, and that's just something we're gonna anticipate doing on this thing. Now, if you're buying a car like a Fox body, for example, a big thing to pay attention to on those are the front strut towers. They crack and break and rot out. So if you're looking at a car like that, you're gonna wanna make sure those are in good condition. But yeah, no matter what kind of suspension's underneath it, you just need to pay attention to what kind of suspension components and condition they are in underneath the car. And if you're anticipating on replacing them or not, you just need to kind of make an assessment. Number 4 on our list is missing interior parts, trim pieces, or badges. Now, the one thing about restoring one of these older cars is all this interior stuff is very important, and some of it is flat out not available anymore. So depending on what kind of car it is and how rare the car is, it might be a good idea to investigate what comes with the car and what's available when it comes to trim, door seals, the dash panel, door handles, the headliner, mirrors, badges, anything like that, because some of that stuff can be, as I like to say, unobtainium and be very expensive. It can be more expensive than like fancy engine parts, but if you're trying to restore a car and do that, it's a good idea to investigate and see not only if is it available, but if it comes with your car in general. Number 3 on our list can be scary for a lot of people. You know, you guys have expressed in the comments and in person that wiring can be one of the things that turns you away from a car. And that can be true. You know, it's a good idea to look under the dash and under the hood here and look at the condition of the wiring. Is it, you know, brittle, breaking apart? When you go under the dash, is there a bunch of wire nuts, weird repairs, things that don't belong, rodent infestation, you know, chewed wiring, stuff like that. If you're not willing to take the time to rewire a car or fix it, it might be something you want to walk away from. But on the flip side of that, rewire kits for most of these vintage automobiles exist through some great manufacturers that we carry here at Summit Racing. So if that is something you're willing to undertake, you're able to add all new wiring to a car with a little bit of time, money, and know-how. So again, if it's something you don't want to take on, that might be a good idea to walk away from a car. If not, more power to you. Number 2 on our list is, does the car have clean paperwork or a clean title? You want the VIN on the dash to match the VIN on the title. That's very important. There's also a hidden VIN, like on some of these GM cars, like on the Novas, for example, it's on the driver's side frame rail by the steering box. So you're gonna wanna check that too if you're really getting in deep to make sure it matches. Another thing is with the title and stuff, you can track history on a car some, make sure, you know, it wasn't any crazy accidents or anything like that, because we know a lot of that information nowadays. Another thing to also look for is, like on the GM cars, for example, up here in the driver's side of the engine bay, there is a tag that says Body by Fisher, and it has a bunch of information on it. I think it'll tell you what color the car was, I believe where it was made and stuff like that. You can also decode the VIN, and that'll tell you where the car's made, what engine it came with it in it, what year, where it was built. So there's a ton of good information in the VIN and the identification tag. Now, every different car manufacturer has a different tag. So Mopar uses one in a different location, Ford uses one in a different location. So no matter what you're buying, you're gonna wanna research it a little bit beforehand so you can kind of know what the tag's talking about. So just a little piece of information that a title is very important when purchasing a project car. And the number 1 thing to look for when buying a potential project vehicle is rust. Now, cosmetic rust like this, not a real big deal, it's pretty easy to fix. But when it comes to structural rust, like along the wheel well here, this can be a real money burner, and you could be getting into some crazy stuff not knowing what you're buying. So it's a good idea when evaluating a car to look under the carpet, the trunk pan, the rear quarters, the rockers, and anywhere it can be structural and a big deal. You know, the thing when it comes to buying a project car, restoring a car, anything can be fixed, but is it within your time, budget, and skill? So whether you're doing this yourself or paying someone to do it, paying attention to rust and how bad something is can be a real deciding factor on if you're gonna purchase the car or not. Another good thing to bring with you too is a good flashlight like my Streamlight here, and a magnet, because the one thing about a car that's been fixed a bunch and has a bunch of Bondo in it is it's gonna appear okay. And personally, I rather have something that is rusty and not fixed yet than what I like to refer to as a Bondo buggy, where someone, you know, cut a car apart, hacked it all back together, and did a really bad fix on it. So if you see a car that has a bunch of structural rust and it makes you uncomfortable and you think it's out of your skill set to fix it, it's the best idea to just walk away. Just remember, buying the right car can save you time and money. Before buying, we suggest you bring a buddy. Use a checklist. Budget for double the cost and time you expect. Ask about the vehicle's mileage. Look at the storage situation. Inside with a solid floor is less conducive to moisture and damage than being parked outside in a gravel lot. Be honest with yourself and your skills and your free time. With all that, we hope this helps you buying a new car. Thanks for watching, and as always, the golden question is, what are you working on?